Hey guys, welcome back here to Intuitive Angling, and really appreciate you guys coming by the channel, checking out today's video. Always much appreciated for that. And guys, today we're going to be discussing the difference between the old school crawdad, like this salt craw, and the more modern version, like this zoomed little critter craw, as far as the presence of them, when one works over the other. And believe it or not, guys, this old school craw is still super effective today, and a lot of people don't use it. So I'm going to sort of go over the scenarios that I use the old school craw versus the modern craw in my fishing today. Also, guys, quick thank you out there. Really appreciate everybody that's been hitting the subscribe button here to Intuitive Angling. We've had some good growth over the past month, so big thank you to that. And also big thank you to everybody that's been supporting the channel by purchasing your fishing tackle through my tackle warehouse links in the description. You guys are really helping out by doing that, so thank you very much for everybody that's participating in that. Okay guys, here's one of my first and favorite flipping lures of all time, just an old salt craw. This thing has been around since the 80s. It was one of this style of bait, actually like the salt craw, I'll give you guys a little bit of history here. This was one of the first soft plastic lures that really replaced the jig as far as flipping and pitching. Because back in the early 80s and up until the mid 80s, everybody just, when you talk flipping and pitching, everybody flipped jigs. We didn't have creature baits back then. And the salt craw was one of the first sort of non-jig lure out there, but that became a really, really popular pitching and flipping bait. And then about 20 years ago or so, Zoom started making like the little critter craw and the critter craws, which is a lot more realistic. It looks a lot more like a crawdad as far as the attention to detail on it. You can see, right off the bat, this has got the tentacles, the more lifelike pinchers on it. And this one, a little bit more, like I said, rudimentary on that. So anyway, guys, there's a time and place for this because I still use the old school craws in my fishing under a couple different situations. First of all, this is one of the best lures still for pitching and flipping flooded cover. Now, I don't know what it is about it. You can pitch and flip lots of different stuff, grass, wood, rock, docks, all that type of stuff. But when you have a high water in a lake and you have flooded bushes, flooded willow trees, flooded trees in a lake, guys, the salt craw or the old craw like this is still one of my favorite lures in a variety of different colors. I usually rig it like on a 1/4 ounce to 5/16 ounce slip sinker, 20-pound test Seaguard Vizex line. Super, super effective. And the other time that I use this is sometimes this has worked really good on it as a jig trailer in the same scenario. Now, I don't know what it is about it, but a lot of times if you have flooded cover, like the lake is high in the springtime of the year, I can put a crawdad on the back of a jig, especially if the water's a little bit cleaner, and it seems like I can get a lot of bites on it. And also I do like this particular color, this black and chartreuse. I'll put that on the back of a jig sometime and I'll swim it in muddy water. So those are the situations where I still carry them. You can see let me show you my box here. I still have a box that is dedicated to, old school craws. A lot of different companies make them out there. But anyway, the old school craw is sort of, identified by the more basic style pinchers, the more just, simplistic looking. Now, the more modern versions, guys, like the Zoom little critter craw, I still use this one a bunch also too. The little critter craw, and they make a bigger one, it's called a critter craw. Also, guys, I'll link this stuff in the description of the video through my links if you guys would like to pick up some. But anyway, this is the type of jig trailer that I use when I really, really want to get finessey with them. So this is one of my top finesse jig trailers. I'll put this like on a little ball head jig. Looks very realistic in clear water. And another time this thing works really good is if you got matted vegetation, even though this thing is really small, I can put like a 1/2 ounce or a 3/4 ounce sinker on it, and I flip it and pitch it in mats. Now, one of the things that I first started doing this is back when pitching and flipping was very first starting at Lake Okeechobee, there was an angler named Mark Evans. A lot of you guys probably never heard of him, but he won a bunch of tournaments back in the early 80s on Lake Okeechobee, flipping these little bitty craws. He was using the little ditto craw they called back then, which is a 3-inch long craw. So a lot of times these little 3-inch craws on a heavy weight are really good for flipping and pitching mats on there. But main thing I use this, guy, is just on a little finesse jig. This is my mainstay with that. But anyway, guys, I just wanted to run the two by. There's time and place for these in your tackle box. Both of them work under certain situations. just another little tip you might add to your arsenal. Might help you catch a few more. So we'll talk later. See you.